Namaste, we are back, and as we promised in the Surya Namaskara introduction, we are back with the common mistakes and its the explanation. I will request Natasha, please come and show the common mistakes. Come. As we said, like in the Surya Namaskara explanation, here each asana we make some mistakes there. The first thing is, always remember, whenever we stand, the weight either goes on the front part of the feet, sometimes it completely comes on the heels, or sometimes on the right heel or one side. First and most important, make sure the weight is all four direction. Then quite normally, we lock the knee and overextending. Natasha is quite well balanced. It's quite normally, you can see if you're tall and flexible, this is easily goes a lot beyond. That should not happen. Always you can keep a little soft, not a problem, but should be as lean as possible from the ankle to the hip. And as soon as the knee goes extended, the chest always goes and expanded too much front. This can create a lot of pressure on the lower back and sometimes neck. Even also create the pressure on the knee. That's why always make sure the ankle, knee, hip, shoulder and ear as in a line as possible. From there, when you come to the Namaskarasana, when you are slowly, when you are bringing the hands in front, most of the time what happens, we keep the fingers pressing each other. This has to be create a little space, a bit space. And also always remember, you say like, we drop the shoulder, and normally it drops a lot. In the general Namaskarasana, we do that. But here, it should be in a beautiful mudra develops here, which opens up the shoulder and shoulder blade and gives also a lift on the neck and round the neck. From here, when we go to the URDHVA, quite normally what happens, people stretch the hands from front and go. As soon as you do that, there is a whole pressure drops on the back and neck. And that's why always make sure don't do that. And sometimes even what happens, then when you are going up and arching, looking back all the way, I am not calling this is wrong, it is always pay an attention how much pressure comes on the lumbar. How much pressure comes on the neck? This is always you have to keep an eye. That's why always make sure minimize this kind of force. And in this asana, the most important thing you have to look how firm your feet is. And what is the best way? Just to go to straight, stretch it up, and lengthen your from the ankle to the wrist. Get it real tall, but there is no stress on the neck. From there, bend the knee and turn the pelvic, and slightly push the chest. And it's not necessary to look back or look up, look straight. That's good enough to start. If that is good and slightly looking up can be always applied. From here, what happens when you go front, quite normally we will collapse. Just stop there. Can you see this position of the back? And this is where normally we don't realize so much tension develops on the spine. And in case someone having health issues, certain issues, in the next video we are going to explain to you that. And that has to be way to continue. But when you are doing in a general learning, it should be as extended as possible. Make sure you maintain here. First turn the palms out and see the wrist and the shoulder stays in line. That is a line of the hip, and maintain that line when you go front. See right from the hip to the wrist. That extension matters, which helps to pull the belly really well. And you can see these muscles are really responding. Initially, if you want, you can spend 1 or 2 long breaths here and experience this muscles reaction here, and also you can see the work on your belly. From here, when you go down to the PADAHASTASANA, most of the time the hand comes somewhere in the front. Okay, but this is normally what happens, you keep moving your hands again and again. But once you are placed your palms in Surya Namaskara, that distance remain maintained. That's how your spine can float very easy and comfortably. That's why always make sure the palm and see, many teachers ask you to keep the knee straight, and then you have to struggle. Hardly you may not able to reach here. This is the condition. What happens? Normally you say, oh, I can't do it. No. In this condition, bend the knee, not a problem, as much as you need. But what you need to see, the palms and feet when it is in line. You can spine extended as much as possible and pull the belly. From here, when you are, most of the time what happens, when you kick the legs back or stretch the legs back, half the way we don't reach. Not even reach the half the way. You can see here. See, there is normally when you push here, your knee goes all the way down and there is a whole alignment is gone. And in this condition you have to remember, when you give if in this condition also, when the toes is turned here and your pressure comes on the knee, and normally your alignment completely loses here. That's why always make sure when you first priority the front shin, it should be 90 degree. Then you drop the knee and point the toes. And in this condition also, many times what happens, this is dead. There is no weight on this. All the weight comes on the knee. But this should be opposite. When you press the back of the foot and the knee can go soft. You can even knee little lifted off. You can see an amazing stretch on your quadriceps, and you can see the stretch on the hips and this hamstring, opposite hamstring, and the same quadriceps has an amazing stretch. That way always we miss. As soon as you start developing the pressure on the knee tension develops in a long time of repetitions. And in case you repeatedly do it, the knee develops a lot of pressure also, that can be easily avoided. And the pressing of the back of the foot can release a lot of tension related to the nerves which is ending here, which is connected straight away into the sciatica, into the sacrum. Okay, from here, when you are going back, most of the time what happens, we do everything here straight and everything good. Then first we raise the knee. When you raise the knee and kick the other leg back, there is a lot of pressure goes on your ankle, knee and hip, sometimes even shoulder. That's why never do that. Always make sure whenever you are doing it, first take the toes in and see this, the distance already be taken. That distance should not be compromised in any condition. Then raise the knee off. See, this is become automatically straight in line, and release the other leg, and see that leg comes and joins the same other foot. And now from here to there is straight. But here what happens, many times what happens when you drop this straight down. If you see here, there is a lot of pressure here, even you are going a little higher, higher. Yeah, this is still you have a lot of pressure here. Even sometimes it goes a lot of up here. This is also the pressure on your shoulder and neck. So always make sure, see when you are looking into this position, see from the wrist to the shoulder, it is in a good line here. Then see the toes to the heels, from the heel to the head. The 3 sticks you can see that. That normally makes you to make so floating. And this is also prepared for your vinyasa, Chaturanga Dandasana later. And when it comes to the Sastanga Namaskarasana, that's very interesting today. I don't know how it is picked up so much of mistakes. And you can see normally what we do, we normally drop the knee first. And then you can see, then normally you go down and bring your chest first down, chin down. You can see the hip, how far it goes. And you want sometime what happen, we go a little bit more back. You can see this. And by doing this, there is a tension here. You can see so much of stress here, and front of the knee also you get a stress. Okay, always make sure there is go front fully. And see, when you are working, another thing is you are doing a sastanga well, but you lose the toes. The throwing the toes out, pointing out. Okay, then again you are doing here. It's all dead here, and your alignment is gone through. Okay, that's why always make sure the toes is touching each other. And so the important point, rolling the shoulder. When you are rolling the shoulder, you can see the amount of relaxation here on the neck. This is releases, one of the major area of stress collecting is here. That will be easily releases off. And this is once settled well, then you can raise the hips a little bit up. See, that is an adjust really well. And where the toes is active, which is automatically pulls the belly in. And you can see amount of relief releases if you repeat it in every series, practice, and this is releases the major tension here and tension here. This is the second important area to collect the stress, and that's why one of the important, you can see amount of stretch comes here and releases a lot of tension from the leg related to. This way always pay attention on the Sastanga Namaskarasana. In case you can't do this, it is the tension comes on the neck, normally you can keep the chin initially down there or a little bit up there, not a problem. But don't compromise the rest of the body. Okay, once your neck feels better, then we have to be back in it. When it comes to the Bhujangasana, quite normally what happens, we stretch the legs first, and everything goes collapsed here, and it is also changes the distance also. Okay, once we go back again, see here you are in a Sastanga Namaskarasana, everything is beautiful. Quite normally what happens, we release this first and drop the waist, then we come up, then the whole distance changes, the pressure on the arms will be much more extra. That's why so you have to remember, first you have to raise the head, then stretch the legs. From here, first raise the head, slightly push front, then the other half foot distance has to be pushed back. That's come the Bhujangasana. If you look into the upper part of the mistakes here, quite normally what happens, we raise and look back. Okay, what happens if the neck is drops here, there is an amount of stress builds up on the lumbar. And you can see the stress on the shoulders and the elbow is locked, and there is the heels automatically throws off, that create a lot of tension on your entire skeletal system. Okay, that's why always make sure the snake never sees his toes. Always it looks straight. And second thing, snake never has any hands. It is only you have to make sure the elbow soft and take initially around 20-30% weight is good. In case you want to make a little bit more work, you can take the hands off the floor and try. What is your strength? Is it still you have any stress on the neck and lower back, and how active your legs? The small things matters a big in here. Okay, from here when you come to the Budarasana, there is quite normally we make a mistake when you come up. Okay, then from here when you take your toes in and we walk all the way front. To make the position better. If you make the position better, if you go to the next position, that really distracts you. What normally you do there, then the distance is automatically loses. That's why always remember, initially you have a little struggle to get the distance. But once you learn the distance properly, and believe me that every little joints and the muscles deeply engages and releases the major stress from the neuromuscular system and amazingly coordinates that. It only needs some time. When you Budarasana, you take in a proper distance, that will help you. All the standing asana works wonderfully, and also you are if you have a difficulties on the hips of sitting on the floor, that helps in a short time to get better. Then Budarasana, always another mistake normally when the Budarasana, come to Budarasana, quite normally what happens, when we are flexible, we push ourselves fully down. Or is it wrong? Once in a while you stretch, is not wrong. If you remember, you are doing around 100 Surya Namaskaras, you are doing every time. Think about your shoulder stress. Amount of stress, it builds up so much. You are doing 12 Surya Namaskaras. You can think about how much stress you can come. And belly is almost dead here. That's why always make sure this should be line here. From the wrist to the hip to the heels, everything is in a good stretch. And it's almost the same position of your Navasana position in a reverse condition. That gives you a stability and consistency that can make you very strong. And you can see the amount of work comes from the palms and the feet. See, this is grips builds up very strong. That's why always make sure it take a little time, but it surely gives a wonderful position here. From there, when you come front, most of the time we can't come straight away front. Then normally what happens, we compromise here, pushing here and raising the head. What we do? The same mistake what we did in the EKA-PADA PRASARANASANA. This way, always is important when you come back again. In case you have a difficulties to bring your foot straight front, first bend both the knees. That gives you enough space. And then still you can't do it, then maybe it comes half the way. Then you use one hand and all the way bring it back and push. Maybe it takes little time, as I told you in the previous asana. If you are not able to coordinate the breath, take 2-3 breaths, no problem. But try to get the position right well. And same as when you are having make sure your back foot is active, knee is soft, and it's the importance of armpit. When the armpit pressing against the thigh, then normally it activates the opposite nostril. Whenever normally what happens, we press our chest over the thigh. That makes our position much harder. Particularly women, it is much harder. That's why always give a little time and give little learning time that can make a big change into your whole process. Then when it is very good, then always make sure, take the toes in, lift the hip and walk front. that will minimize us. And again, coming up, just don't scroll up, don't scroll up here. Is it wrong? I don't call this is wrong. The impact on the system will be much lesser. Okay, that's why always it's better to get in a very strong core and a very strong back muscle. First extend the arms. See that from the hip to the wrist it becomes so active. The neck is so relaxed, there is no stress in the neck, but entire these muscles are so active that works wonderfully here. From there you can gradually come up and raise really tall. So remember, once again we are curving our back, dropping the head. That is already we explained to you, I don't need to explain that again. Always remember, only if you very comfortable look up, but don't, that is not the important dropping the head. See, the dropping the head creates a lot of tension on the neck, lower back, and also you, many times you also feel imbalance after every position. Slowly come back. Okay, and that is always you remember when you release is also, sometimes we release the hands like outward, but what normally happens here, when you from the top, you just draw your hands down, it is remains, stays you very well centered with your pranic energy. This just keeps you completely centered and well balanced. That's what we have to be always pay attention to that. And see, this is still I can go and explain a lot more things, but it's most important is smaller things. Remember, it is always take little time and apply yourself, you check yourself, ask some friends to help to be, or find any teachers who can explain to you these details. That helps you to grow much deeper and much better. Remember, this technically once you understood well, then it comes to the breath. And the breath is really coordinated well, then you can use mantras or drashtis. Then you will become meditative in it. You can do in like in a 90 minutes, you can do around 108 Surya Namaskara within 9 minutes of Shavasana. Okay, that's how it can be making a dynamic meditation. Okay, thank you. We will come back in the one more video which says how to do a beginners. If we can't do, what are the variation we have to be built up. Soon we will introduce that to you. Dhanyavad. See you soon with the next video. Thank you.